All right, guys, let's talk about tire pressure. All right. Tire pressure in your motorcycle. Critical. Absolutely critical. It's life or death, okay? So it's important to maintain proper tire pressure. You also have to know that if you're going to throw bags on it or a rider on the rear, you have to crank the pressure up quite significantly. Dodge Hellcat, Dodge Challenger, with these particular rims, I think these are 22-inch, 32 PSI is kind of where you're at. On this Ducati, it's like 36.3. It's conversion from, the European system to the American. So I think it's 36.3 front and rear. If you got somebody riding on the back, then you bump the front up, I think, to 38 and the rear up to 40. Okay. So air compressors, right? That's what this is all about. I have this Porter cable here. Porter cable. Pancake. 6 gallon. 150 PSI. Okay. Decent. It's done the job for me. But it's extremely loud. And it has a steel tank. And I live in a humid environment. When you live in a humid environment, a lot of moisture builds up inside the tank. I drain it on every usage, but still, you get rust inside the tank. Unquestionably, that's going to happen, especially in the more humid environments. But this compressor is so insanely loud, it's actually, you have to wear earplugs, right? Like OSHA regulation, you're going to lose hearing if you sit around and listen to this thing. So I think this is like $169, $179 right now. And so what did I pick up? Well, I went to Harbor Freight. I did a bunch of research on this. When I went to Harbor Freight and I bought this Fortress air compressor, okay? Ultra quiet series, 60 decibels, all right? 60. This is over 100. It's probably like 110, 120 decibels, okay? You really should be wearing ear protection when you're running this thing, to be perfectly frank. This thing is so insanely quiet, it'll blow your mind, okay? It has dual brushless motors. Motor on the left, motor on the right. Big old fat heat sinks, dual pistons, very, very quiet, okay? Electric motors. Fills up wicked fast, refills, it keeps putting out. It's got an air filter here, okay? So this air filter just twists and pops off, and you clean this. You have to clean this every, so often. Depends how much you're using it, what kind of environment you're operating it in. But generally a very, very, very good compressor. The on switch is right there. It's that little orange lever. You have a really, really easy pressure relief valve right here. It's just twist, release, put back. But aluminum tank. This is a 2-gallon model. They make a 1 gallon, 6 gallon, 3 gallon, 30 gallon, 200 gallon, whatever, right? They got them all. I think I paid under $200 for it, just a little bit under $200. Your pretty standard gauges. You got your tank pressure on the left and your tool pressure on the right. Valve in the middle. It's got 2 hookups here, right? So I've got my long cable hooked in, and then I have my blower hooked into the second port right there. I picked up the hose, both hoses, everything. I got it all at Harbor Freight. Very good quality. Some people might think like, oh, Harbor Freight's like super cheap. No, it depends. They have some cheap stuff there, but they also have some really good stuff, okay? And a lot of the components are actually made by like legitimate manufacturers, and it's like private label, kind of like when you go to the grocery store and you buy like Kroger brand food or whatever, etc. So I'm going to fire this thing up. I want you guys to hear this, right? So I'm going to relieve a little bit of the... Okay. Okay, now you heard what that sounds like. Now listen to this one. Okay, this thing is insanely quiet. Okay, for the first like 5 seconds that it's running, it's slightly louder, but after about 5 seconds, it really quiets down quite a bit. Okay. So that's 135 psi. If you get they make the 6-gallon pancake version of this, that'll do 150 psi. And if you're like, well, I don't have a Harbor Freight where I live. Okay, guess what? Makita makes an ultra quiet series in all the different sizes. And Lowe's with their Cobalt brand, they also have ultra quiet series that are really great. Okay, and even one of the Cobalt ones actually has wheels on it, so you can tote it around if you need to, right? But generally speaking, fantastic. What do you want to couple that with? What do you want to use it for? Well, you can use it for bleeding brakes. You can get a pneumatic bleeder. I got this Ares off Amazon. I'll put a link to this in the description if you're interested in bleeding brakes. Vacuum brake fluid bleeder by Ares. This right is perfect for this. This is a 2-gallon unit. Absolutely perfect. You can bleed your brakes, but you can also use it to pump fluid. Like if you want to move oil or any fluid, you can use it to pump that fluid, right? Siphon that fluid out. This is a Milton digital tire pressure gauge. Absolutely phenomenal. This is the hose that it comes with. So it has a straight connector, and it actually grabs onto, with spring pressure, it grabs onto your valve. So you don't have to hold it on the valve. You push this, put it on the valve, release, and it sits there. Okay? If you push this handle down just a little bit, it's going to relieve pressure. If you push it all the way, it's going to fill. Okay, so this is release and then fill. I bought this on their website with the extra hose. This is a 90-degree attachment. It's fantastic as well. And you can even create yourself like a quick disconnect setup so that you can have your straight and your 90 on quick disconnects, so that you can just quick disconnect, like if you're on your car versus your motorcycle or a bicycle or whatever, right? Piece of cake. But the Milton, absolutely phenomenal tire pressure gauge. It's one of the best ones. I'll put a link to the description in this as well. I did a ton of research on tire pressure gauges. This is the most reliable. It's shop grade. And if you use like Energizer lithium batteries in it, okay, the batteries last forever, like 5-6 years, maybe more. They don't leak. These don't leak acid. These will not, explode and leak acid. So anytime you have electronic devices where, like this, for instance, you want to use the lithium batteries for sure. So if you have a super loud air compressor, I'm telling you right now, sell it, clean it up a little bit, sell it, and buy yourself an ultra quiet air compressor. You will not regret it.